Okay, let's look at this question in Barron test 3. X equal to 5. For example, okay, now say this is X, this is Y, this is Z. Now X equal to 5 means here 5. Okay, now okay, now if you have 5 here, independent of the Y value, that means this Y can go up all the way. Okay, can go up all the way. Then also Z means this one can go all the way. Okay, so what happened is this surface, what does this surface actually, this surface actually is a plane. Okay, now the next question is okay, this one, okay, Y equal to A sine Bx plus C. Okay, now the question actually asks for your amplitude. Okay, the amplitude, vertical distance, that means the highest point, distance between the highest and the lowest point. So that is actually determined by this A. Okay, that will decide the vertical distance between the maximum and minimum. Now let's look at this function here. Y equal to minus square root 2 sine, or you could have whatever, okay, we call it Bx. Okay, now as far as we know, this Bx here, no matter what you do, the sine value should be maximum is 1, and then the minimum is equal to minus 1. Okay, so this value here, maximum is 1, minimum is, it cannot be more than 1 or less than minus 1. Now if you look at this graph, we are not looking at the absolute one. Okay, we look at the minus square root 2 sine Bx. Okay, if you plot this, I mean if you sketch this, because of the negative, that means it will actually go down first and then come out to complete one cycle. Okay, now since it's square root 2, so this distance must be square root 2, distance must be minus square root 2. Okay, then if you put the absolute line, wait, before that, since D is maximum or minimum is minus 1, okay, whether it's maximum is 1, minimum. So the square root 2 multiplied by this maximum 1 or minus 1, you will get square root 2. Okay? Now, so if you put in the absolute value, okay, if you put in the absolute value, then this negative one will flip up. Okay, this negative one, put negative. This one will flip up. Okay, this one will flip up. This one, since is positive, will remain positive. So the graph actually is like that. Then followed by the original one with without the flip is like that. Okay, so if you look at the maximum point, which is here, square root 2, the lowest point it can go is 0. So the distance between the maximum and minimum will be square root 2. Okay. So square root 2 is actually 1.414. Okay, question 16. Basically, you take the magnitude, which is square root of this, square of this is 3 square plus square of this. So square root 2, you square it, so become square root 9 plus 2, which gives you square root 11. Okay. So square root 11 will give you the value of equal to 3.32. Okay. Mistake made is here. Instead of square root 2, you put a 2. That's why the answer is incorrect. Okay. Now move to the how many coins, different way for how many elements of this list will contain more than 3 hits. Okay. Now for me to explain with a better explanation, I will do this, change the question slightly. Let's say the probability of getting a hit, okay, let's say is equal to 2 or 3. Probability, basically we're talking about a bias coin, tail is 1 over 3. Okay, with the difference in the probability, then what I'm going to explain next will be clearer. Okay, now you have more than 3 hits. Okay, so this is what we call the binomial probability. So basically, let's talk about 4 hits. Okay, you flip 4 the coin, 5 coin. So you got more than 3 hits. So to meet the requirement, there will be out of the 4 coin. Okay, now more than 3 hits means you have a case where what's the probability, how many elements, so how many combination that you will end up with 3 hits. Okay, more than 3 hits, so we are looking at a 4 hit. Okay, 4 hit. Okay, now how many ways you have 4 hit? Okay, it's like that. So it's 5 C4. This 4, actually we are talking about getting a hit. So it should be 2/3, 4. The probability of getting hit 2/3. So it's 2/3, 4. Then the last one is the probability of a tail, 1/3, and it's 1. Okay. This is the probability. Okay. Now, if you just want to find out how many ways, so the way is actually 5C4. So if we talk about this, how many element in the list is talking about how many ways. So basically it's 5C4. But if you want to talk about the probability of getting 4 hit, okay, when you draw 5 out, when you flip a coin, 5 coin, okay, so this is the probability. So if you want to know the number of ways, you actually no need to include this. You actually look at 5C4, which will give you 5C1, which is actually 5 elements. Okay, I mean, if you list all the possibility, there are 5 of them which give 4 hits. Okay, now then next will be 5 hit. Five hit is 5C5. If you want to calculate the probability, will be 2/3. Hit is 2/3, so 5 times. This is 1/3. None of them is tail, so this is 0. Okay, that is the probability. But if you talk about number of ways, then it's 5C5, which actually become 1. Okay, so in total, so it's 6 elements. Basically, there are 6 arrangements, okay, where you have 4 hit or 5 hit. 6, basically, you talk in terms, there are 6 combinations where you end up with 4 hit or 5 hit. Okay, n-term is equal to A plus D n minus 1. Now the 7th term is equal to A plus D 7 minus 1, and 7th term is 5A plus 6D. Similarly, if you look at this basically, you talk about the 12th term, so it's minus 15. You have 12, so it's 12 minus 1, so you end up as 11D. Okay. Now, if you take second equation minus first equation, 2 minus 1. So on the left hand side, minus 15 minus 5 is minus 20. A minus A, 0. 11D minus 6, you get 5D. Okay, so D actually is minus 4. Okay, once you get D, then you substitute either in equation 1 or 2. So let's take equation 1, this 5 plus, this 5 equal to A plus 6D is minus 4. Okay, 5 plus 24 equal to A. So this is 29 equal to A. Okay, now next, x equal to 0, y equal to 0. Okay. Okay, now, so I know the y-intercept is 4. I'll find the x-intercept. So to find intercept, I'll put y equal to 0. Okay, so if y is 0, simplify, you got x equal to 3. So the x-intercept is 3. Okay, after that, let's look at the area that bounded by this condition here. So you use the rake in. This is part of the segment of the line, okay, which is this. Then x equal to 0 basically is this. Then y equal to 0 basically is this length here. Okay, so we are talking about this area. So if I want to rotate this area about the y-axis, it forms a cone. Okay, the height of the cone is 4. The radius of the cone is 3. Okay, so using the formula for volume of the cone is 1/3 pi r square times the height. So 1/3 pi r square is 3 to the power of 2, 9, height is this. So you get 37.7. Okay. Now let's look at this question over here. Now looking at the probability, we are not looking at the ways, how many ways it meet the requirement. Okay, we are looking at the probability. So without considering whether it's broken or not, what is the total possible way that you can pick 4 out of 12? So it's basically 12 C 4. Okay, this is the total way you can pick 4 out of a box of 12. Now let's look at the requirement. Okay, the probability that none of them is broken, and you pick you're supposed to pick 3. Okay, okay, now sorry, just now the earlier one was a mistake. You're supposed to take 3 out of the 12, not the 4. Okay, so there was I just glanced to make a silly mistake. So all the possible way to pick 3 out of 12 is 12C3. Okay, this is very simple. Now let's analyze this. None of the 3 is broken. Basically, it's saying that 3 of them are good transistor. Okay, 3 of them are good transistor. Okay, so I'm going to pick the 3 of them, but how many total good transistors? 12, 4 are broken, that means there are 8 good transistors. Okay, in other words, I'm going to pick out of these 8 good transistors, I'm going to pick 3, okay, good transistors. Okay, so how many ways can you pick? Okay, so in other words, the probability would be equal to this form all the possible without considering the restriction. So it's 12 C3, this is 8 C3. Okay, so 8 times 7 times 6 over 3 times 2. Now then you have 12 CT, so it's 12 times 11 times 10 over. Okay, now so 8C3, how many ways to select a good 3 out of the 8 good one? Okay, then 12C3 is without restriction. Okay, all the possible ways. So the probability is this over this. Now 8C3, if you do it manually, okay, this is how you do it. 876, this is actually times 1. I just do times 1, this one is also times 1. Okay, now so this cancel off. So what you have is 8 times 7 times 6 over 12 times 11 times 10. Okay, simplified further, this 2, this 4, this 2, this 5. So it's 14 over 55. Okay, if you work it out, it's actually equal to 0.255, which is actually this one. Okay, now then okay, let's look at this. Domain means what are the possible value of x. Okay, now let's look at, okay, now you have a cube root here. For cube root, whatever inside the root here, this part here, for cube root, it can be positive or negative. There's no restriction. So in other words, 15 minus x squared can be positive or negative. Okay, it can even become 0, not a problem. So it can be a negative value, it can be a positive value. So indirectly means x can be any value. Okay, it can be any value because it can handle, for cube root, it can handle positive or negative, even 0, not a problem. So in other words, x can be any value. Okay. Let's look at this question. Okay, now total is 30 students, 20 take French. I mean here 20 does include those who take French as well as Spanish. Okay, so this is 20. 20 doesn't mean the 20 of them take French only, but As long as they take French, then they actually belong to these 20. Whether they take another subject like Spanish or not, doesn't matter. Okay. Now how do you do this? First, you put the box here. Then you have the universal set. So let's say this is French, this is Spanish. Now 5 of them take neither. That means 5 of them is outside here. Okay, outside here means they don't take French, they don't take Spanish. Now let's go back to look at 20. 20 means whatever inside this F has to be 20. Okay. Now how do you put this 20 inside here? Because you do not know how many is those that take French and Spanish together. So the way to do it is you put X here. Okay, that means X means the number of students who take French as well as Spanish. Okay, so if this is X, then whatever who take only French only, then has to be 20 minus X. Okay, similarly Spanish, 15 of them, and those who take Spanish alone should be 15 minus X. Now if you add this, the circle F, you add together, you got 20, am I? So that's it, not a problem. 20 take French. Then if you add the Spanish circle together, X plus 15X, you got 15. So 15 take Spanish. Okay, so you meet the requirement. Now what we're going to do is, we know this plus this plus this plus this must give you 30. Okay, so there are 4 groups of students. First group, those who don't take neither. Then here is both, the X is among students who take French and Spanish. This one, 20 minus X, is the student who take only French. 15 minus X is the student that take Spanish only. So all these, if you add together, they must equal to 30. Okay, plus 15 minus X plus 5. So that must give you 30 students. So this minus X plus X cancel. Now so 20 plus 15, 35 plus 5, 40 minus X equal to 30. Okay, so 40 minus 30 equal to X, which gives X equal to 10. So X is the zone that meet the requirement of F. Also is, no, what I mean, X is those that do French, at the same time they do Spanish. So the answer is actually 10. Okay, so that's it. This is for test 3. There's 2 more questions that I didn't answer, but because the term they use, I have to figure out what is the meaning of the term. Okay, so that's it.